Hey, what's up, everybody? It is March 21st, 2023, which means we are ready for this week's TNT Tuesday. All right, so we're wrapping up things in my class with the miniature golf course project. Kids have done a lot of great things with it: materials, the appearances, lots of great modeling, lots of animated parts. But I'm having kids come at me with questions about using joints and not exactly getting the results that they're kind of hoping to get. I mean, we got things out there like Revolut, and we have slider, we have ball joint, we have pen and slot, we have a lot of great things. But if we want a particular component to go along a predefined path that they have created, it's going to be really hard to do with Fusion. So lots of questions with that. I didn't have answers, but I think I've kind of cracked the code. All right, to give you what it is you're kind of looking for. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take a component and we are going to send it along a predefined path, like a roadway, like a railroad track, whatever that might be, to give us the look that we're looking for. Okay. So you can see here I have a 25-foot by 20-foot miniature golf course base. This is where a kid would be creating an individual hole. This would be, the pad that they'd be creating a clubhouse and so on. All right, so we're going to start with this. Let's go ahead and get started with it. So let's create a sketch right here on the face. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use spline, okay, and I'm going to create the path, okay, that I want my component to follow. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put some arcs in here and some humps. Okay. All right. So we have our path. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and use extrude on this, and I'm going to pick this and pull this out. And I'm going to say that the the track or the path I'm going to be using is going to be like 4 inches thick. I'm going to accept that, finish the sketch, look at this in a home view, and now I'm going to use extrude. I'm going to pick that profile and pull it up, and I'm just going to say it's going to be something like 4 inches or something. Okay, so we're not going to be using join on this. We're actually going to be coming out and creating a new component. So now I'm going to go ahead and say okay. All right, so what I'm going to have to do is use an as-built joint. And I'm going to pick the track, pick the base, and I'm going to make sure that this is a rigid. And I'm going to say okay. All right, so now what we have to do is create a trolley. All right, that the trolley is what's actually going to be sort of going along that path, and then we can put something on top of that trolley here in just a little bit. So I'm going to come out and create a sketch right on the base. And I'm going to just draw a circle here. I'm going to say the diameter on that is going to be 4 inches. And then I'm going to draw another circle. I'm going to track that off and I'm going to say that is going to be 4 inches. And then I'm just going to dimension this. And I'm going to say from circle to circle, okay, we are going to be talking about, I don't know, let's just call it like 10 inches or something. Okay. And just for good measure, I'm going to go ahead and put a vertical constraint between this center point. Okay, so we're all set. So this is going to be these two little cylinders on the bottom, okay, of our trolley. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extrude those up. And I'm just going to bring them up like 2 inches. And once again, this does need to be a new component. And I'm going to say, okay. All right, so now that we have those little cylinders at the bottom, I'm now going to sketch right there on top, and I'm just going to use something simple here. I'll just use like slot, go center to center on my slot, and then just bring this out. And I'm going to create a platform for the top of this just by doing an extrusion like so. And I'm going to say that this is going to come up like 1 inch or something. And that could be a join. It's just going to join right up with that last geometry. All right, so there's our trolley. And while we're here, I'm going to say I'm just going to be doing like a billboard that's going to be running along that track. So I'm going to create a sketch right here on top. And now I'm going to go ahead and use like a center rectangle. And we'll start this right here at the center. We can track that in place. I think we got it. There we go. And I'm going to say that this is going to be like 48 inches long. And then we'll say this is like 2 inches or something. Okay. And now we can go ahead and finish the sketch. And finally, let's go ahead and do an extrusion. So let's extrude that up and we'll say that this is going to be 48 inches high. Okay, it's going to be a join. We can say okay. All right. So we have the trolley made. We have that billboard that's going to be on top of it. All right, that is a component, so we can pull this off. And now I'm going to come out, do a joint, and I'm going to be picking a joint origin at the bottom of the cylinder, and then coming out here, I can pick on the top surface here, and we're going to change that motion, okay, over to planar. That's one that's not used very often, but planar is going to be making sure we have that surface to surface contact. Okay, if we say okay on this, Okay, we look at it from here, it doesn't look like much is happening, but if we turn this over and look at this, we can see I'm trying to pull up, pull down on it. It's not happening, but we can see it does have that surface to surface connection. All right, that's exactly how planar is working for us. Okay, so once we have that, what we're going to do is start making the magic happen for us. All right, so I'm just going to slide this a little bit closer into my wall. And now what I'm going to do is up here under a symbol, you're going to see this thing called tangent relationship. And tangent relationship, okay, it can take a curved object like this cylinder and make it have a connection, okay, with another surface. I'm going to go ahead and pick on this surface. We can see it, those two just went together. All right. And now what I want to do is get this to the other side of the wall, just like so, so I can see that cylinder and I can do an easy connection again using tangent relationship between this face and this face. Go ahead and continue on with this. And now once I say okay, we can see that that is going to have the connection that we want. All right. So now, in order to send this along that entire path or that entire rail that we've established, okay, here's where we're going to make some of the magic happen with this. I'm going to create a sketch right here on top of this base. And what I'm going to do is just create what's going to look like a very long wall. All right. Just make sure this is all the way out here where we can use this. I'm going to go ahead and finish the sketch. I'm going to use an extrude on this, and I'm just going to extrude those two profiles, send this up, make sure that this is a new component. Okay, and now I can go ahead and say okay. So once I have that, I can pull that off the base. I can come in here to joint. I'm going to come in here and find this joint origin right here, and I'm going to take that to the dead center of my base right here. Okay, so right now we can see that that planar is working for us, but we want to switch that over to Revolute. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and say okay. So I'm going to bring the wall back and get it close to the trolley. All right. And once we get in close to the trolley, what we're going to do is use tangent relationship one more time. I'm going to take this curved surface here and have it connect with this flat wall here. Okay, I can now go ahead and say okay. And now let's just go ahead and see what it is we've just done. So if I come out here to joints, I go into my Revolute, I right click and I animate the joint relationship. Now you're going to be seeing how that billboard and trolley are going to be following the track and they're going to be connected to that wall that has a Revolute joint attached to it. All right, so here's where we can make this all work for us. All right, let's go into our component. Let's shut it down with the visibility. Come in here to the track. Let's shut it down with the visibility. And now let's come back into Revolute. Let's right click on this. Let's animate that joint relationship. All right, and there you go. All right, so there's a little bit of magic and trickery that has to happen with that. Okay, we have two parts that we can't even see, but since it has those relationships with tangent relationship, it is going to make this appear like it is going along a predefined path. Pretty cool, right? All right, so that is the solution that I have found so far to kind of go and give that component the appearance that is following a predefined path. I think it's going to work pretty well for you. And then obviously at this time, this is when we can go over um, we can go up, create a motion study from this, save that, go over to the rendering environment. You can get your still shot render and then get a rendering of your motion study. And it's going to look really sharp, especially if you have some nice looking materials and appearances. So there you go. That's what we have for this week's TNT Tuesday. Have fun with that. I'll see you soon.